Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Lisa Sabers, and I am the Director of Marketing at Kendall Hunt Publishing for Higher Education. And I am here with Jay Cavalier, one of our leading managing editors. And we're excited to talk to you today about Kendall Hunt's newest tool to help improve active learning in the classroom, and that is called our classroom engagement tool. Now, we've spoken with a lot of you and we heard from a lot of you both before the pandemic and especially during the pandemic that there is nothing worse when you're at the lecture podium, if you're in-person classes, or if you're talking into your computer as I'm doing today, kind of looking out at a void. There's nothing worse than looking at a sea of blank faces. And how do I actively get students to participate? How do I get them to be inquisitive? How do I get them to retain this information, which I know is going to lead to better outcomes at the end of that semester? And that's really what this tool was developed for. It was developed to give you a low-cost, simple, and effective way to engage your students in the classroom, hybrid, or digital learning, which I know many of you are doing today.
And to add on to that, Lisa, I just wanted to add, we built this product from the ground up with the student in mind. So as we go through a lot of these features, one of the key words that Lisa said there that I want to come back and highlight is simple. We wanted to design a product that wasn't overly cumbersome, wasn't overly complicated, and allowed you to deliver a lecture as close to the classroom experience as we could make it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jay. The other thing that I think is important to note is that this is a web-based option that can operate as a standalone tool, or it can be incorporated into any learning management system you may have. For example, if you're a Canvas user or a Blackboard user, the engagement tool can live within that course and via a handshake through our IT departments can easily be utilized right alongside both of those learning management systems as well as many, many others. Also, this screen might look very familiar to you. For those of you who are Kendall Hunt content or otherwise known as GRL or webcom authors with us today, you would log into this screen just as you would to access your content or just as your students would to access their content, and the engagement tool will be right in there available to them. So I think that's also so important and so interesting is not only is it web-based, allowing you to access it from any smart device, any laptop, iPad, anything that your student may be using, but also it's within one browser, it's within one resource, it's within one space. So it just allows things to be that much easier for both you and your students to access.
And Lisa, as you get started, I just want to let everybody know I am monitoring the Q&A and the chat feature. So if you have questions that come up as we go, please feel free to ask and we'll address them.
Perfect. As I mentioned before, transforms any smart device into a multi-purpose course companion that again will let your students follow along with lecture slides, videos, and it will track their retention as they go. Again, we understand and we heard from you, even with the best content, the most well-written information, it can still be challenging to engage students digitally. There's a lot of reasons they might not want to participate in class. They might not feel comfortable asking questions. They might not want to feel singled out. This type of platform will allow you to actively engage with them and giving them the privacy, the security to feel like they can speak back to you and not feel encumbered or not threatened, but again, asking a question in front of 300 people can be a little intimidating. And we wanted to make sure that this was something that allowed them to feel comfortable to do that. Something else that we're seeing and hearing a lot of from you guys these days, and you might be feeling it, we're feeling it, things like Zoom gloom, or, oh my gosh, there's nothing worse than when you're doing a webinar or you're conducting a class or you're participating in a meeting and you get the poor connection quality and you start to sound scratchy, or whomever is speaking to you starts to sound scratchy. We know that accessibility is as important now as it has ever been. We know that Zoom has been a go-to for many professors in 2020, but again, video calls can be exhausting. To make the other person feel like you are actively listening for an extended period of time requires a whole new level of concentration, which can increase fatigue. And when students have to do this all day long with multiple classes, it can really prevent them from being able to participate as they would like to and as you would like them to. So really, when designing this platform, we wanted to make sure that we addressed the lack of interactivity that exists within Zoom meetings and provide options with you or for you so that you can easily engage your students, no Zoom or any other web conferencing tools required. Instructors, you'll be able to stream and record your lectures, seamlessly provide students with video, audio overlays, slide presentations, all of this again within one browser window. Additional opportunities for you, you'll be able to take attendance, whether you're face-to-face, which we all hope we can get back to someday. This allows you great opportunities to do that with a really tight circle around where your classroom lies. Also, it allows you to take attendance just by whom is logging into that class, which is fantastic right now when most of us are teaching in a hybrid or virtual environment. It allows, we mentioned dynamic classroom streaming, live quizzes and polling, different tools to assess and track student comprehension. Again, what we're trying to do here and what we did for you is mix active learning opportunities within your lectures and discussions that can help students explore their course material in a more meaningful way. And with that being said, I am going to kind of get right into the nuts and bolts of it and take you into the platform itself. Okay, you should be able to see this screen again, should look very familiar with a lot of you who currently have a KHP content site with us. What we've done here is on the login screen that I showed you earlier in the presentation, once you've logged into content, this is the screen you would see. You can see that the classroom engagement tool button highlighted first and foremost right up top. Likewise, when your students log in, and I'll show you that at the end of the presentation because I know a student view is important to you as well. But when your students log in, they will see the same button right here, ready and waiting. You simply click on engagement and it takes you into the platform. Once you click on that delightful gray button that you will see added to your course, although I should say, if you are a content author with us, lovely, that's how you would see it. If you're not a content author with us and you have an ebook or a print publication or are thinking about writing, this would be optional for you as well. You'll still log in the same way. You'll still see that same screen. You hit the engagement button and away you go. Once that button is hit, you will see this screen. What we've done here is we've given you a dashboard that's going to easily show you, these are the courses that I have signed up to use this platform in, and it allows you to select which course you want to make adjustments to or what class you want to start for the day. So let's assume, Jay, let's assume that the professors we're speaking with today teach molecules in society. Once you participate in this program with us, once you purchase this tool, we'll have your book cover locked and loaded, and then we'll have two different options for you. You can either go directly into a live class, or you can manage those course details. So I'd like to show you a couple of the features we put in here for you under Manage Course Details to show you just how easy this is to set up. Okay, I have just clicked on that button, and it pulls up this first screen. Options are listed here right across the top. Class dates, that's the first place this is going to start. You can easily select when the class is going to begin, when the class is going to end. I had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. You hit set dates, and down below it populates all of the classes right here for you. And again, we made it very easy to edit. Okay, we're not having class on Thanksgiving. My spring break is this day. Simply hit remove. The class is removed and your new schedule is right here for you. Attendance is the next option you're going to see up here. This is if I am teaching a hybrid class or I'm teaching virtually, I'm going to hit any distance. This is going to record that attendance for students that log into the platform. However, those of you that are fortunate enough to be teaching face-to-face or who hopefully will be within the next couple of semesters, you can determine I want to set that attendance for 20 meters, 50 meters. Again, we worked really hard to listen to some of the gaps that we had out there on the market and say, how can we tighten this up to really make sure that you can gauge attendance for those people that are in front of you and not in their dorm room that might just be close to where class is happening. And this really gives you the flexibility to be able to do that. Down here, you'll see an option. You can view reports of all students. You can view reports of any student that's currently logged into class specifically, just to see what their attendance looked like for that particular period of time. Upload slides. We talked a little bit earlier about PowerPoint presentations, whether you have PowerPoints, whether you have slides, PDFs, whatever it is that you like to present from, if you have something you like to present from. Jay, we had a gentleman the other day that we spoke with, and he preferred to just speak to his class, and then he would share his screen, and he would do a lot of videos and things using the share screen feature. So that's an option as well. But if you do like to have slides that you want to present from, it's really easy to go ahead and select those. I'm teaching a molecules in society class. I can browse my computer, upload the slides, label them whatever I'd like to. A couple other features that we really find helpful. This is fully customizable to best meet your needs. So do I want all slides to be available to everyone? I do. I select that here. Or you can decide, I'm really going to only make these available to students that are recorded as having attended class today. That's an option. Or you know what, we covered some sensitive material that's going to be used on the exam at the end of the semester, and I would prefer not to share today's information because I don't want a student to pass that on to their bunkmate who is going to be taking my class next semester. You can make that adjustment here as well. So it's really customizable to best meet whatever your need is for that class. You can set it and forget it. Set it once, have it be that way across the semester. Or as I mentioned, if you have a specific class that has a specific set of instructions or circumstances, you can make that adjustment for that class alone. It's really flexible to whatever best meets your needs. Edit slides. We give you the ability to edit slides within the platform. If there's something you want to add or take away prior to the class starting, simply select the slides that you have uploaded. The one fun thing that I want to talk you through here before we get into a live class is the pulse check slide. So you heard me mention that we can do live quizzes and polling. We can also assess and track student comprehension. One of the, again, easy, simple, nice little tricks that we've inserted in here for you to do that is a pulse check slide. A pulse check slide is simply a pause in your presentation that's going to allow students to anonymously notify the teacher that there's something that they don't understand. So I've uploaded my presentation. Good, easy, quick. Did that the last tab. I want to insert a pulse check slide right here because we're just going to have covered information on atoms and their development. And I want to make sure that my students are, they're picking up what I'm putting down. They are comprehending what I'm saying. So I simply click on this slide. I click on insert pulse check slides after the selected slide, and I hit save. And this slide, it's already ready. It's prepared. It's thumbs up. I get it. Thumbs down. I don't get it. I'll show you that when the live class a bit later on, but I did want to show you how easy it is. The slides already created. You can insert them anywhere in your presentation that you feel like you just want to make sure that students are understanding and comprehending that topic.
And Lisa, if I can, I want to add one thing too. When we were talking about on the upload slides, you as a teacher, you will have the option to also share your notes with the students. Some of the feedback we've had about that has been really great because you could say, if I was you, I would pay very close attention to this slide. You can give students prompts to also not necessarily record or force their engagement, but allow them to engage if they're going to or not. So, right there where it says make teacher notes available to students, you can very clearly give them prompts and assistance of say, point blank, this will be on the test, or I would pay extra attention, or I would go further into my reading, whatever you want to do. So that way, when a student comes to your office hours and says, I don't get this, I haven't done this, you can ask them, did you read the notes? And if you gave them the notes and they still didn't do it, then there's something else you probably need to address, which would be the engagement. So I just wanted to point that out because that was a question that came up too.
Oh, no, well, no, that's an excellent question. Yes, you can take notes along the way. You can determine if you want them visible. And actually, Jay, thank you for that. That's a great segue. We'll talk about polls and the content quiz option here in a second, but I'm just going to jump ahead to post class files since you had a question on it. this little section here is really, really great because, and pause for effect, there we go. All of your recordings are going to be posted for students as far as you've allowed them to view after class. So that being said, you can see here, these are the files that you have posted, and then here are student questions that were asked on this particular class date. So to Jay's point, you can determine what files you want posted. Again, we showed you how to do that, simple click of a button. And then you can go in and say, I didn't get to answer this question in class. Perhaps you're the type of professor, it was not something you wanted to address in class, you wanted to address in front of everybody. You're going to address it after class. Simple. Once the class is complete, you can quickly and easily identify, I want to view the questions that were asked in class today. Great. What is an atom? Someone asked, what is an atom in class today? I simply click in here, I can type in my response, and it's then sent to the student that asked that question. So it allows you during class, if you would like to collect all the questions, address those that you can, those that you can't, it saves everything for you, and you can go back in and answer them after class. And it then is recorded for the students to view in their class files as well. So,
and another thing you can do, I'm so sorry, Lisa. I mean,
no, you're good.
Another thing you can do with those questions is post them to discussion boards for your class. So if you want to go back to your LMS, you can post it and then use it as participation points for students. Let students teach themselves and teach each other, or use it as extra credit, whatever you want to do with those questions. We've seen a lot of our early adopters really enjoy being able to go back and look at what the questions were after class. And Lisa, I'm going to answer 2 questions real quick that just popped up.
Yeah.
This one is a great question from Joy. Is this tool available to students and professors with the ebook? Yes. If you wrote your own, if you adopted one, or if you've done neither, you want this as a standalone product, it is available to anybody and everybody. It is web-based, so it will not live inside of the ebook, but this platform is absolutely available if you wrote it, adopt it, or neither, you want it as a standalone. And then we've got a great question from Jody that I am teaching a course completely asynchronous this spring. How is this platform beneficial versus live? Honestly, I think, and I'll give my answer to that. I'm sure Lisa might have something different.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the best and what I think is the most valuable option we have is the record, lecture, and share. I am very much not a hear it one time kind of guy and know it. I love that I can go back, listen to your audio only, watch your video and audio, and see the screen with the PowerPoints. I can sit to get it. I can do that at my desk. I can do that at a restaurant if those ever open again, outside the classroom, at my parents' house, on the bus, wherever I am. I can watch that lecture again with your PowerPoints, like I'm sitting there for the first time. So that to me is the most beneficial tool. And then Lisa, if you've got a different take on that, we'd love to hear that as well.
Oh, absolutely. That is an excellent question. And I appreciate that because again, it segues very nicely into what I wanted to show you next. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a couple different options for you that allow you to interact with your students in a very non-threatening way. So we just talked about the students can ask questions during class anonymously. You can answer them during class or outside of class. But then also when we talk about doing polls and I'll show you how to do quizzes. As your students are watching this back, they're going to see those interruptions. They're going to see those, okay, this is a point where I want to make sure that this is really sinking in for you. And they can play along with you as they're watching this back. So they're not just getting your PowerPoint slides for the day. They're also getting the interaction that you had with the class. And they're being allowed to see that and to stop at those points that you've identified are places where you want to make sure that they're really getting that message. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we jump into a live class here in just a second, but I appreciate that question because I do think it's so valuable, both as a tool during class, but then also for those that are just going to pick up those lectures and those PowerPoints after class is concluded. The only other couple things I wanted to share with you really quick that you can do here in your manage class section. So we've updated class dates, Showed you how to do attendance super quick and easy. You can easily upload slides. We've edited the slides. We've thrown in a couple comprehension checks just to make sure we understand students are grasping the concept. The other great thing that we can do from this point is we can insert a poll. So a poll is non-graded, and it's easily just another opportunity for you to check in with students in the middle of your class and just, are they still there? We've had professors that have said they like to use polls to reinforce key concepts, which is great. We have other professors that have said they like to use polls just to throw something fun in the middle. You know, Zevia is delicious, true or false, or yeah, A, B, or C, or D. With this animal, this pet is the best. Just something kind of fun, interactive, break things up a little bit, encourage your audience to, yeah, just smile. Take a break, do something a little bit different in the middle of whatever your course was for that day. So really, you have multiple options. You can create a poll. You can select a poll that, you know, once you've created a number of them, you just select it, hit select, and it'll go and be inserted and be available for you to pull up in class at any point in time or in any class that you want to. So there again, this is where you would do that. Content quizzes. If you have a KHP content course with us or a webcom course, all of the quizzes that you have within that platform will be available to you here. Those that are multiple choice, those that are long form questions, they don't work as well within this platform. So those would be something that we would want to talk about doing outside of the platform itself. But all of your quizzes would be available here. They are graded. If, as we had a question on earlier, you currently have an ebook with us, you could still give your graded quizzes within this platform. We would work with you to get those quizzes uploaded and set up, and they would those grades would be uploaded to your students' LMS or to your LMS with an easy handshake between our IT department and your IT department. So I just want to make it a point to say that that's been a really nice feature, is you can give your quizzes within the platform and then you don't have to worry about it afterwards because everything is automatically uploaded to whatever LMS that you're currently using. And we've talked about post-class files. So all of that said, I'm excited to get us into the live class. Just going to hit the live class button. This was available on my dashboard page as well. And we're live. Here we go. We're ready to rock and roll. I hit select slides. I want to do presentation 2.1. Any of the chapters, whatever you decided to name them, would be available here. And it's easily populated, and I can take my students through them as I would take them through a normal class. Jay, are you still with me? You're kind of frozen, making an interesting face. I just want to make sure you're still there.
Yeah, can you hear me, Lisa?
I can. Perfect. Nope,
okay,
just making
so I
sure.
still have audio, but Zoom is now telling me it is no longer responding, so I might have to close out and come back in. But I've got audio left, but yeah, as I understand it, my video has stopped, which is probably a good time for us to talk about why we are only doing one-way video communication.
No, that's actually a really great point, and it leads me right into this next option. So this broadcast button. So I've selected the slides for my class today. Great. This is what my students see. If I decide that I want to broadcast my video as well as my audio, you click this button here. It lets you know that this is the option you're choosing, and your students will see your image here as well as the presentation at the same time. If I decide I'm not in a situation where I want to do video right now, for whatever reason, I want to do audio only, that's an option for you as well. You click on that button, or you can share your screen. If you have YouTube videos, you have things saved on your computer that you want to share. It's, again, quick and easy to click share screen, and then that is available for you as well. And it's all recorded for your students to see and access after class. Again, one browser, one place, 3 easy button options for you to choose from, really trying to make this as simple as possible for you. The questions option, and this is, Jay, where I wanted to ask your help with before Zoom kicks you off, is your student. So Jay, I think you're logged in, or if you could log in as a student in this class right now, you can see this little question icon. The student sees that as well. Your students can ask a question anonymously, as we mentioned before, and then when they do that, there will be a number that will populate right here that will show us that a question has been asked. And when I see that, I click the button, I can go to select question, and that question will be posted right here. So I don't know if you can see Jay, as a student in my class, just asked a question. So I'm going to click on that. What is carbon? Fantastic. Great question. I can preview this. I can determine that I want to answer or I want to speak to this point in class. Great. If I don't want to speak to it, I have the option to write that specific student back after class, as we mentioned before. Fantastic. I can post this question. This is a legitimate, great question, and I want the rest of the students to pause, see it, and let's address it together. So I can choose to do that as well. So again, it allows for students to feel comfortable to ask questions, and it gives you multiple options in order to interact with them to answer those. That pulse check slide that we talked about before, when students answer that slide, I'm feeling good, I'm not feeling good. I'll show you what that looks like here. This is what your students see. I feel good. I don't have any questions. I feel okay. I may have a few. I don't feel okay. I have many questions. I need help with this topic. Once they answer, the results will be listed here. So you click on pulse check, you can view, you're going to see a screen just like this that shows you how many students felt good, how many students are okay, and how many students didn't. And then you can decide whether or not you want to go back and recover any information. So again, you can post this to the class to see. You can just store this and make note that I want to go back and recover this, whatever works best for you, but it's available to you so that you can, again, just have those little rumble strips in your class to make sure that students are engaged and paying attention. Poll students, select which poll you'd like. You can view the poll, it'll pop up here, and I'll show you what that looks like for a student in just a second. And then quiz students, this is where you would select any of those quizzes that you have loaded. And you could give the quiz during your class as well. So we talked about how to quickly and easily set these things up. We talked about how to quickly and easily go through this here. I'm now going to show you, hopefully also quickly and easily, how to actually, what you would see as a student.
And Lisa, let me log out right now as student one.
Oh, that would be that. Thank you. That would be great.
You might need me to do that. Yep.
Jay, while I'm logging in as a student, are there any other questions that we would want to address?
I would love to get to that, guys. Unfortunately, you have me for audio, but my Zoom capability,
no problem.
Yeah, have gone down. So what I've asked is Ryan to email me any questions that might have come up, and then I'll address them here.
No problem. We are in as a student. As you can see, they can see the exact same thing that you were able to see. They click on the classroom engagement tool button. I want to go into a live class for molecules and society. Oh, well, yes. So then you can see they're able to see everything that that you're able to see. They can ask questions. They can make this bigger if they would like. The view is whatever is easiest and works best for them. And we are at 12:29. I'm sorry, within our 30 minutes, I didn't get quite a lot of time to take you through the student view, but I'm happy to do that and post that information in a video after the class. But I want to make sure we also get to any Q&A. Oh, great question. How easy is Engage to use in a face-to-face class setting, since hopefully we won't be in this COVID situation for forever? It is fantastic to use in a class setting. Just imagine you are at your podium, you get to look out to the class and you get to say, okay, class, take out your phones. I want you to participate in class today. I mean, that's just a fun thing to be able to say, because students can use this whether they're on their phone, iPad, or computer. And again, that's how you're going to be engaging with them. So that student who is too shy or didn't feel comfortable enough to raise their hand in a classroom setting, they're able to do that anonymously on their phone, and you can address those points. So this is very useful in a face-to-face setting, in addition to virtual or a hybrid class situation, just even for those reasons alone.
And one thing I'll jump in here too, Lisa, and add, one of the key words she said earlier was, I think, was non-threatening. When we polled the students and asked them what they wanted, because again, we built this to be as student-centric as possible, so we can get them engaged and not try to force the engagement, but to bring them to a space where they feel comfortable participating. That's what so much of this is about. So, as a student in a class, you know, I could be living at home. I could be overwhelmed. I've got 5 other classes. I'm a freshman. This was not the college experience I was thinking it was going to be, right? So if this student comprehension comes up, if we're in a live Zoom and I had an operating video right now, you would see me have to raise my hand and say, look, I don't get this. I might not be comfortable doing that in front of a large class of strangers, right? So this is my way to tell you I'm not following it. And if you want to, you can then include this slide in your presentation and say, hey guys, a third of you right now aren't understanding this. Don't feel bad. Here's my office hours. Here's our TA schedule. Let's go back over this so we get everybody. Or if the vast majority of them is getting it, then you can move on. So it's just a way to really try to get students to tell you the truth of the matter, what's happening. Do they really comprehend and understand, or do they need help?
Absolutely. Just a couple more questions, and I appreciate all the interaction. Can students join with video? Leslie asks. Great question. We considered this, and then we determined that after speaking with a number of our authors and professors that no, students are not going to join with video. They can see and interact with their professor who can broadcast their screen, but they will not be able to do that. And that was done very purposefully, very intentionally to avoid the stress that you can have from having to be on, from having to be not, I don't want to say focused because you want your students focused, but I think a lot of the articles that we're reading about and hearing about the studies with regards to Zoom gloom is it can be stressful, it can be difficult for students to have to be staring into that camera all day, concerned about what's behind them. Is my little brother going to walk into the room? There's so many different variables that students have to consider. So all the things that we want to consider right before we join into a meeting. So we opted or decided that students would be able to join in, but their videos wouldn't be shown, but the professor's video would be shown. And we would give a number of different options for students to ask questions, take notes, and engage with the class in other manners.
Right. And just to underscore that again, we can't stress enough how many students asked to not have a two-way video. And I think any of us who, if you've been on a department call and you try to do really more than 5 video and live mics on a Zoom, it can get very cumbersome, right? Again, with that lack of mute. But for instance, right now my screen's so frozen, I can't mute this if I wanted to, right? So we wanted to eliminate those. There's plenty of videos floating around the internet where somebody forgot they were on a live video and did something embarrassing or that they wish they would not have done in front of a classroom. So this was absolutely designed on purpose to be a one-way video. If you want, you also have the ability not to share your camera. So if you aren't in the mood to broadcast video, that's perfectly fine. You can sit on your deck in your backyard and just do audio only.
Yeah, and just one last point before I move off of that, because I do think this is such an interesting discussion, is something else that we've noticed and I've experienced firsthand, and I've heard from so many of you that we've talked to about this product so far already, is if you have a Zoom call and you've got 30 students on that call, that student, on one hand, you're thinking, okay, this is great because I can look Jay in the eye, I can look so-and-so in the eye, and that's lovely. But what we often forget about, or what we found can happen as well, is Jay is also looking at Ken, who's wondering what Susan is drinking in that mug, who is trying to figure out what Sydney is up to over here. So a lot of that back and forth can cause more distraction as far as making sure that they're retaining and paying attention to the information being presented. So that was, I appreciate the question, and that was the reason why we opted to make sure that it was not available in terms of video for the students, but again, giving them many other opportunities to ask questions and be engaged in the classroom outside of having their video on. Just a couple other questions. Is the KH tool available only for KH textbooks? Absolutely not. This is available as a standalone item, will still work beautifully. We'll still make sure that your grades sync to your LMS, attendance syncs to your LMS. All of those features and functionalities is available to you, whether you use it with a book that you worked on with us or something else that you're currently working on. It's a great question, and it makes me smile because we have had professors who maybe have one book with us but teach multiple courses and use the engagement tool with all of their courses, even on non-KH books. So great question, and it's absolutely available to you with no regard to which content you're using. And then last but not least, Daniel asked a fantastic question with regards to availability for students once they have paid for the text. You're exactly right. So what we would do is, if you are using a KH book, we would just bundle this with your course book. And yes, students, once they have access to that book, would have access to this as well. The setup process is very simple. Happy to talk you through it and walk you through it at your convenience.
And also what we'll do after this call, I'll share my contact information with everybody. If you would like any more information or a one-on-one demo, as soon as I get my Zoom fixed, I will absolutely be more than willing to do that, or perhaps we'll do it inside the platform as well.
Yep, and that brings us to a great point. I know we're over time, so we'll wrap this up. If you have any questions and are currently working with KH, please, we encourage you to reach out to your contact here. You are welcome to reach out to me. My information and Jay's information will be included with this webinar video that we send out to you in the next 24 hours or so. You'll have this in your inbox to reference if you would like, but we'll make sure we include our contact information as well to make it as easy as possible if you have further questions or want to set up a demo or want to speak about your class in particular and how we could help bring this tool into that particular classroom. So again, my name is Lisa Sabers. It was a pleasure speaking with all of you today. Jay, any final words of wisdom before we wrap this up?
Not at all. Just allow me to apologize for my frozen face that I'm getting quite a few emails on. So, so my apologies and happy holidays to everybody.
Yep. Happy holidays. We will speak with you all soon. Thanks so much.